Welcome to Tell the Damn Story, the show that explores the many ways to navigate the successes and failures that aspiring and struggling writers face to make your journey that much easier.
Because this episode was packed with so much great information, we split it in two. So here's part 2 of Master the Magic of Holiday Horror, how to create festive yet frightening tales, and learn how to put a little jitter in your jingle and fear in your fa-la-la.
No.
All right. Well, so here's my thing. And with all love and reverence to John, I can honestly say that, and this may make me the not so great person to answer this question, but I'm not worried about offending people.
Yes, that's true. But you are generous. You are generous for
Yes.
scared editors like myself.
You ain't that
Yes,
generous.
exactly.
Yeah. Sex vampires seldom are generous, but go ahead.
Everybody's got kinks and boundaries. Look, it's like I write what I feel, and I'm almost because I'm not putting anything out I'm just talking about my work in general. I don't really put anything out that I think will ever put me on the wrong side of history. So for me, it's like, if you're offended by something, I get it. I may have, there might be somebody who got dismembered or the sex stuff in something like Naughty might be a little too much for your personal taste. And I understand that. And I completely it's like, and I'm always also very nervous about, because sometimes you'll be out selling books and you're selling your stories and things like that. And then what I don't want to do is run into somebody whose child got a hold of the wrong thing, and now you got to have that conversation or that argument or something along those lines. And and that's not something I'm trying to do or whatever. I always tell people right off the bat, by the way, you may want to make sure the kids don't get a hold of this. I'm very upfront about stuff like that.
This isn't Santa. I call it Santa, mommy kissing Santa Claus. It goes a lot deeper. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
I was trying not to, but you did. Okay, go ahead.
But the thing is, it's like I feel like if I'm going to be worried about people being offended, right, that's kind of handcuffing me.
Oh, sure.
So I tend to there you go. So I the main thing is I try to be as true to myself, and I try to live in my own authenticity, and that's the advice I would give to a writer, without necessarily having to go off the cliffs that I go off of.
Well, I would add one thing to that, is that you're aware of that. Yeah. It's like what John's saying about knowing your own boundaries. Mm-hmm. You're aware of that and where it places you. Where a writer, I've had stuff that's been edited and I've had to say, all right, that's fine to edit because it holds the core of what I was saying. Mm-hmm. Or no, you can't take that out because that's what I was talking about. And you're aware of that. And that's what makes your work actually. Yeah. Is that,
thank you.
When, okay, you were able to edit for Chris's book and not lose the point of your story, knowing that at some point that full version will get printed somewhere, so you've not lost anything. But at the same time, you didn't change the meaning of your story or blunt the meaning of your story just to get it printed. And I think that's important too, is that, like John was saying about knowing your limit and being able to look at it, because we all overwrite and then cut back at some point.
Yes. And
knowing what cutting back that defeats the purpose of the story, that's like, this is the line in the sand. I won't argue about this and this, but this last one, that's the line in the sand that changes the meaning of my story. And I think that's really important too, is to own your work, to really own it and know who you are.
And to add a point to if I could just throw this one in, there's two things. One, when I approached Steven, I asked rather than told. That's just the way I approach editing. It just seems like the right thing to do. This would really help. Can we do this? But the reason I thought it would be possible to even ask it, because what I was asking did not affect the subtext of what your story was about and the power of the story. And that, I think, that's the mortal sin. If you blunt the message, then you're not editing, you're butchering. And when you were kind enough to say yes, and I don't want to just do the naughty aspect of it. The same thing is true with the what's it, a Monster's Gift. Well, no, I got the title wrong.
Monsters Christmas Fix.
A Monster's Christmas Fix. The subtext of that and the last third of that piece, that's, I think, what resonates far after the reading. And one of the things about one of the biggest rewards about Soul Scream Anthologine is that all of you contribute stuff that resonates. You know, whether it's humorous, there's still the undercut of what Teel is saying, or the heartfelt bravery of what John says, or James may have delivered a story of wonder, but underneath there's so much more. Same thing with Mark. Yes, there's some research there, but the point of the story is what resonates. Those are the gifts. The idea that resonates at the end of Believe, Alex's story, that's what makes you think about much more than the crime in the beginning. It's the moment at the end. And that's, to me, that's the whole point of even doing an exercise or a project like this, is to check these out. Look at these.
What was John going to say?
I was going to say, I think Steven said it better than I actually did, because it's not so much I worry about offending. I worry about the wrong target, the wrong audience. Like you said about the kid getting the book that wasn't meant for a kid. I think that you said it better than I did, because I just have my own personal limits. I always thought when I would start writing, I'd be like John Splatterpunk, and I don't think I am. I think I hold back sometimes because I think it works better for the story, but I'm not afraid. I'm not the willingness to go to really wet parts. Nice way of putting it. the really wet parts. I will do it if I feel it works for the story. But offending, I think you said it a lot better than I was trying to say it. I'm worried, so if someone told me that they lost a child, I'd be like, okay, well then this one's obviously not for you. I would be worried. So I think you worded it better than Mumble Mouth here actually did.
Send him a check. I just wanted to point out that one of the things that's coming across for me, and I want to make sure that the listeners, if they haven't focused in on it, that we shine a light on it at this point, is the difference between creating the kind of work, talking about a particular sensitive subject, being more graphic in either the violence or the sex or whatever. These are things that you don't use as a sensationalistic gimmick. What you are doing is you are writing to satisfy and as Chris likes to say, serve the story, to build suspense, to build to a climax, to make certain that the theme is being explored in the most concise and tangible way, to move people with your tale and subsequently cause them to think or feel.
Right.
But you're not about, oh, well, let me throw this in there just so it'll get a rise. Because the moment you start doing that, you cheapen the effect or the intention or even the impact of your story. I think every one of you has talked about writing the story, doing the research, caring about the characters, pulling from your own personal history. Even the sex vampire here, who is quite bold and brash and owns his own spirit and energy, said, look, I didn't touch the woman. I don't know nothing about her. Nothing happened between us, but she inspired. So it didn't say, we got it on and then I put it on paper. It's not that. It's about what information, what moments in my life experience can I pull from or can I utilize, can I reflect on to make my story work, to serve the story to its best advantage. And I think that's what you've done here is each one of you has pointed that out as being a major part of
Yes.
your mantra.
And I would add to that, Alex, and this gets us to our last round, is that what I'm hearing from everybody, and one of the things that continually inspires me about working with all these people, is that they pay attention to their own lives and what's going on around them, and then they express their heart. And those are the two things that I would advise emerging writers if they want to try this or any other story. And those are two keys to get to the real story. Pay attention to what's going on and let things inspire you, like that one offhand comment from the woman to Stephen, and then it became an inspiration. The silly song that Teel heard, and years later, the other parts came together. Boom. Mark seeing that, just that little mention of the Yule Cat in that thing you were watching, and saying, "What's that?" That curiosity. Just driving with the family, and James sees what becomes a wondrous story. John has the bravery of heart to explore something that deeply affects those who go through that, and your family went through that as well. That all of these things, that those are the keys. If you look at all these gifted writers here, what they're doing is really living, and that's where you get the stories from. What advice might you give to emerging writers who want to attempt this or any other kind of writing? What would you leave them? What are the gifts you're going to give them here as we enter this end round of the holiday episode? John.
Read, God damn it. I hear so many people who tell me, writers who tell me they don't read.
Yeah.
They only read for stuff they only read stuff because they might have to blurb it or something like if you can't pick up a book or a story and read for the enjoyment of it, I don't know how you write. I mean, there's some people do it and some people do it very well, but I personally feel the moment I stop reading, I'm not going to grow as a writer.
True. Yeah.
I
feel
it
anxious when I'm not reading
I
something.
want that on a T-shirt. Yeah. Read, goddammit.
Damn it.
I want that
on
a
down for
T-shirt.
10%.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Thank you. Mark?
I'm going to piggyback off what John said because I teach high school students.
Yeah.
Find the thing you love and read.
Yeah.
What I found is young people don't like to read because they have no idea what to read. And full disclosure here, we're reading Jaws.
Cool.
The day I handed that book out to the kids in my class, they looked at me and they were like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Trust me." Yesterday, the kids got into a fight over
Yes.
Ellen Brody having an affair with
Oh, yeah.
Hooper in the book. And the girls are screaming at the guys. The boys are like, "I don't understand why I have to defend this. How come and one person's in the back like, "I want to know when the shark's coming back." So it's, and then I
That's
had
a
one
successful
student
class.
on the way out, like, "Did he write anything else?" I'm like, "I will give you Peter Benchley's list."
Yeah,
So
that's
to
perfect.
that point, find the thing that you love. If you love horror movies,
Yeah.
read horror novels. If you love
Right.
romance, read romance. Get it. Start
Yeah.
making that a habit of reading what you love.
Mark, I'll add an anecdote. Bloomberg, whatever you think of him, it's an aside to a good anecdote. When he was a kid, he just read sports, and his mother would fret. And she said, he's not reading the classics, isn't this? And the father said, he's reading. Just let him read and get the habit of reading. He can always transfer to other, genres, other subjects once he has the habit. So yeah, it's always get them to read, and you bringing Jaws into the classroom and lighten them up. Yes, that's a big key. Who else has got some advice? See, it's the show that keeps on giving.
I got to add to both of them. I will probably die with my to be read pile falling over on me. And the sad part is mostly it's people I know. And that adds to the guilt.
Oh, yeah.
So I do not read enough. And because it's often a case of, do I write today or do I read today? And I have to, it's a constant battle. But the fact that that's always on my mind means that I'm always engaged in it.
Right.
And the only furniture I have are bookcases and my desk. I have no other furniture in my
He
apartment.
sleeps on a bookcase. It's really strange to watch.
You know what? I used to sleep on milk
Bookcase,
crates.
couch. Yeah.
But because that matters, but also just constantly, I don't believe in guilty pleasures. People say, oh, that's my guilty pleasure watching wrestling, or that's my guilty pleasure watching horror movies. No, if you like it, there's no reason to be guilty
Right.
because you got to own it. It's
Yep,
what
love
makes
it.
it's what puts you together. And Dick Francis loved horse racing, and it gave him a career as a writer. Agatha Christie poisoned a lot of people and then became a writer. If it interests you, chase it down and hold on to it, because there's too many people who don't have any interests. I'm
Right.
always astounded by people who they come home and they sit on a couch and they do nothing. They go to a job they don't really like, and they make it through. And maybe they'll their glass of wine in the evening is their only real joy. Don't pursue that. So the fact that you have something that really grabs you, treasure it,
Yeah.
love it, love goofy old movies. God, I mean, I know people who are totally crazy for Godzilla. No, nothing personal, and they should embrace it. Rubber suits forever.
Yeah.
If you love it, it will inspire you in some way. So,
Well said.
Thank you for that rubber suit remark there, Teel.
You feel bad for
except
people
for
like
Batman
that.
suits.
All right. We got to hear from SVP and from James.
Well, I can just continue the the read damn it train here and just say that when you give young people the chance to find the thing that they'll enjoy reading and they find it, it's like magic. They just take off. I mean, I went through that with my son, who was not a particularly avid reader until he discovered a couple of things that he just really liked. Jeff Strand's YA novels. He read one, he was like, wow, this is great. He read them all. He's like, asked Jeff when more he's writing more books. And I'm like, Jeff stopped writing YA. but
Yes.
He'll
but
get
then
older and buy his other books.
yeah, but when he got older, he found that he really liked political social science fiction. Animal Farm, 1984, A Brave New World. So it's like, all right, great, read that stuff. And that's the thing. I think Mark hit the nail on the head, is they don't know where to start. They don't know that these opportunities or possibilities are out there as when you're young, and you have to give kids the room to discover that. And I think even as adults, if we've lost the love of reading, it's just a matter of finding the thing that connects with you, that makes you want to keep turning the page. And the other thing I'd add, and just this is aside from reading, the thing I'd add for any new writer starting out is have confidence in your creativity. Don't sit there and say, no, this is too wild, I'm not going to write this, or nobody's ever written this before, so no one will want to read it, so I'm not
or worse, somebody wrote this once. It won't be the same and you write it.
Exactly.
Right.
They have nobody's written your version of it. And I think that's the thing that I find every writer has to hit that point where they're like, that kicks in. They have that confidence to pursue the crazy idea. I mean, what if H.P. Lovecraft had said, I'm not going to write about these weird elder gods. People want to read about vampires and mummies. Or like Dick Francis, what if he'd said, nobody wants to read mysteries about horses. I'm going to stick to, my Sam Spade knockoff or something like that. And that's the biggest thing. I think new writers try to keep that in mind, and it can be a journey to get there, but if you focus on it, you'll get there.
I would like to jump in and add that I think, on top of everything else that you're saying, and keeping in mind that aspiring and emerging writers, new writers, are also people who are 55 and 60, who up until this moment in their life never dared. And so what I would also like to offer for all of that spectrum is give yourself permission to be curious and to explore.
Yep.
Whether you're exploring reading or, wow, here it comes, explore the life around you.
Yep.
Listen to other people. You have permission to overhear other people's conversations. You know, you're not. It's not about being a rumor monger. You know, it's like conversations, little bits of life going on alongside you in different places. Locking yourself off in terms of headphones and nothing but the screen or whatever's going on in your head, you're missing the rest of the world, which is
Yeah.
where inspiration is. Not being curious about what's going on somewhere else, how something works, why someone thought such and such. That's saying, well, then all of life is just this. And if you want to be a writer, all of life is not just this. All
Yeah.
of life is this. And the more you allow yourself to see it, the more you give yourself permission to explore it, the more you give yourself permission to reflect it. And that
Yes.
reflection is in your writing.
And it's
So
best
live.
explored in real life,
Yeah.
not on your phone.
I
Yeah.
had a boss who was a Civil War reenactor, and he told the greatest stories, and no one else listened to it, but I found it fascinating.
Sure.
It was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah,
As a
yeah.
kid, I listened to older people. Everyone, kids don't care about. Are you kidding? I'm sitting right there hearing all these tales. Some of them stayed with me, some of them I've completely forgotten. But at that time, the kid in me was going, wow, that happened and this happened and you did this and you did that. I hope I get to. It was all stuff, just, like sponges.
Oh,
And we
yeah.
can still be sponges. I think most of us
Mhm.
here have never let the child in us die. I really believe that. I think there's something, especially people who teach, young people. You work with high school students. There's a big teenager in you somewhere. There's a kid in you somewhere, Mark. You can fess out. It's okay. You
No,
know,
it is.
yeah, I
Those,
mean,
those kids crack me up.
that's real.
Oh,
I
yeah.
I often feel that it's the kid in me that comes up with the wild ideas and the wild imaginings, and then it's the adult that has to figure out how to pull it off.
Oh, yeah.
So I just think, ultimately, please give yourself permission to be curious and to explore and then reflect.
Yeah. Sure. SVP, want to add anything?
Yes, I'll just kind of piggyback off the general sentiments of everything and just add, like James made a very good point about confidence. Now, it's hard to develop confidence initially because basically, if you're starting out as a writer, you're alone.
Right.
And that can be daunting in and of itself, just trying to put something together, but it's somewhere in the back of your mind until you get that feedback, until you get the love, until you get the holy shit, this is really good. Until you actually start experiencing that and you're just sitting down pulling a story together in the middle of the night, that can be in and of itself. It can be a very dark place. It can be a confidence killer
Yeah.
until you pull the right thing together, you get it in front of somebody and you get the feedback and be able to accept the constructive feedback. That's a big thing. Just the ability to sit down and workshop something in and
Right.
of itself, and thankfully I kind of learned that early on, in my meager attempts to like throw a couple of scripts in when I was working for HBO Downtown as a production assistant. You have to be, as you guys have already said, you have to let the explorer in you out.
Right.
And that's what'll make you a better writer. That's what'll eventually lead you to your path, to your journey, your genre, and the whole thing. At least that's my thought.
I agree. Yeah. And to have fun. I think that's we're kind of getting around that, but we should have it said, this can be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be. It should be fun first. And then, you go on the rewrites and you start finding, oh, I can say this and all that sort of stuff. There you go. Gentlemen, I thank you for oh, wait, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Alex.
remember I said I was going to pull one?
Oh, he's going to pull one, ladies and
Yeah, I'm going
gentlemen.
to pull one. This is rapid fire because we are closing out with rapid fire. Can you think of, each one of you, can you think of one story that had either the most or an extremely powerful impact on you creatively?
Yeah, right off the bat. Richard Matheson's first sale, Born of Man and Woman. It's the most incredible use of language from the point of view of this mutant baby in a basement. It's his diary. And I read that and went, man, you can control the view of the world from the language of the character so much. Without it was it's just brilliant.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
That one really boom stuck with
Okay,
me.
so Richard Matheson's Born of Man and Woman. Great.
Yeah.
Who's next?
I'll give you two real quick. The Stallings run on the Warlock, the most depressed superhero I ever read, and it just broke my mind. You can do that. Secondly, in Night Shift, which is one of the inspirations for Soul Scream and Thalazine, because my older brother handed that to me, and that was my introduction to Stephen King. But there's a story in there. It's one of the lesser stories, Quitters Incorporated, and it was a mafia service. They would help you quit smoking, and I loved how grounded it was and how horrifying it was. And being a Bronx guy and being attracted to grounded stories, it was a way into a lot of the rest of the stuff that I ever wrote. So I'll give you those.
Great.
And Alan King played that part beautifully in the movie.
He did.
Yeah.
Who else?
I'll jump in with one, and it's a Ray Bradbury story called There Will Come Soft Rains.
Yes.
And it's a brilliant, beautiful piece of writing about a fully automatic house, kind of where we're actually heading now with the Internet of Things and AI, that has survived all of its residents and pretty much everybody else in the world. In the house, this inanimate object, he breathes such life and character and personality into it. That story just changed how I think about pretty much everything related to storytelling and writing.
I
And
first
it's always
encountered
the
that.
first one that pops into my head when I'm like, what's your favorite or what's the most influential? It's right there.
I first encountered that in the comic book version from EC.
Oh, wow.
And then I read the original. I was like, geez.
Yeah.
I used to give it to my writing
Wow.
students.
Okay. Who else?
I'll go Stephen King, The Talisman.
Wow, yes.
That and it I got to be honest, I was emotional during that. Like,
Yes.
I can't even tell you. It was just
It
crazy.
smells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Great
John?
book. Holy shit.
I'll give you two. Yours truly, Jack the Ripper by Robert Bloch. It was my first short story that just blew my mind. And years later, On the Far Side of the Cadillac Desert with the Dead Folk by Joe Lansdale.
Oh,
That just
Joe,
opened me.
Joe.
That just opened me
The title
completely.
alone.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's
Joe's
part
a
Western,
genius.
part zombie story, part it's Lansdale. It's great.
Yeah. God bless Lansdale.
One more.
Okay. Two. The Black Cat by Edgar Allan Poe.
There you go. Yes.
And Clive Barker's The Midnight Meat Train.
Ooh.
I knew you were going to say
Big-
that one.
Ooh.
Partly because I had to take that train in high school. So that was yeah, I had words for Clive when I met him about that one. Because I can't do that to people. So
Yeah, that is so wrong,
But it-
Clive. That is so wrong.
but that in particular, because the creation of an entire world, a subterranean world under the world that we already live in, was extremely fascinating to me, and the whole ritualistic reason of why the killer did what he did.
Yeah. My two, and I cannot, and it's on me that I can't remember the name of the second one, but the first one was Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Yeah.
It's fun because I, like all of you, playing with your action figures, drawing, making up stories, writing essays, all that did all that stuff. Never said I wanted to be a writer. I read that, and just his use of words and imagery, I just said, I want to be able to do that. And it never left me. It just stayed with me. And I eventually got to meet him and tell him. So that was a big moment for me. The other
Alex, you should read John's novella.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will.
It's a
And then
cousin.
the other one is, and this is one I can't remember the name of, but I suspect somebody here will. You mentioned Night Shift, Chris.
Yes, sir.
There's a story in there about a brother and sister. Do you remember that one? You don't. Okay. It's this little story about a brother and sister playing in a barn. and it's the rafters. I don't want to give it all away, but it's the rafters and a ladder, and I'm reading this thing.
The last run of the ladder?
That might be it. If
That might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be it. If you know the one I'm talking about, the way, I mean, I'm reading it, and I'm reading it, and I'm reading it, and then the delivery at the end, and I went, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a short story. And I was totally caught up in these two kids doing this normal thing. And then what happens in that moment. And then the impact later. You know, it's like, oh man, you can tell so much. You can do so much in that short bit of space. And so those are two stories that I've never forgotten. And every now and then when I hit those moments where I feel maybe a little dry, I sort of play that in my head and go, okay, what's out there that I can play with? And
I went to look it up, but I must have lent out that
I've got it somewhere here, but
that book and Carole King's Tapestry I have replaced like 10 times each. They always lend them out and they never come back.
Does anybody know Lawrence Saunders?
Sure.
Yeah. Lawrence Saunders. The 10th Commandment got me through a very bad week and a half to 2 weeks when I was cast out on my own and had no place to go. And this is some years ago, but that book got me through really, we use the word dark, a really dark time. And so that's a third one that I sort of, if I ever met Saunders, which I'm not going to call him back to thank him, but I would thank him. All right, so I'm now, Chris, now you can. I just wanted
Well, I mean, what that shows, and I hope those of you who are watching or listening, you heard something that resonated with you, because that's one of the things that I kept hearing was the common denominators that will help you, give you the confidence to give these things a try. And hopefully there's some of the things we offered will help you along the way to write your stories, because that's what it's about.
I thought
It's
you were going to say
sharing the community, building the community, and saying, hey, look, this is how I see it.
So what is it going to help them to do, Chris?
Well, it's going to help them tell their own damn story.
There you go.
You know,
there you go.
and we hope that something that someone said, maybe Mark or Teel or SVP or John or James or Alex or me, will make you have reach over, hit that like, hit that subscribe, put down in the comments, talk about who you like best,
send in your questions,
ask for SVP's digits, whatever it is that is with you. We hope you have a great holiday. Go tell your damn stories. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the generosity of your time and your thoughts and your heart. Really appreciate it.
Read, goddammit.
Read, goddammit.
I take mine in a large.
There you go. That's wonderful.